very crucial in marriage. Not blaming him.
Yeah.
Not being mad at him because he doesn't operate at the same pace
Right.
or have the same Welcome today to Pearls of Wisdom. My name is Vicki Luther, and today I have with me Kevin Littlefield and Jordan Beishgard. And we're here to talk about life, how life goes when you're in full-time ministry, you're married, and you're trying to operate as a mother for Jordan, housewife, keep the house clean, get the laundry done, prepare meals. You have to take care of a little one, and yet you're full-time ministry. So you can, with what we say today, you can apply that to a full-time job,
Right.
motherhood, wife, all the hats that we as women wear, for we wear many different hats. And sometimes the different hats gets confusing.
Yeah.
Like, what hat do I have on right now? Who am I supposed to be right now? I mean, those crazy questions.
Yeah.
So I've got them in here today because I want them to talk about, and Jordan's going to talk about how she is a new mother, 3 months old.
Yep.
And she's going to talk about how all of that dynamic works in her life. And then Heaven, she works full time.
Yep.
She's about to get her doctorate, and she's married. So many hats here. And I'm
Yeah.
going to have each of them talk about conflicts that they can go in, just trying to adjust, and then to keep a smile on their face and trust the Lord.
Yeah.
So, Jordan, why don't you start since you're the...
Okay. I balance. It's all about finding a balance, which is extremely difficult. And it takes a lot of practice and, giving grace to my husband, especially. And then, walking in grace and just receiving it for myself because, that can be kind of, sometimes that's harder.
Yeah.
When we're out of balance, guilt can come in. I'm not able to give 100% to all of these things at one time. And, the devil knows that and can capitalize on that and can try to make you feel guilty. And so just giving yourself grace. But, especially with a new baby at home, it's a learning curve for sure. And so, when I'm taking care of Ezra, Heather's getting something done at the house. And when he's doing something, when he's taking care of Ezra, I'm getting something done. I'm doing laundry or something. So just like switching off. And then at the end of the day, it's like, man, we haven't spent any time together. And so it's just like learning to walk that out and, realize like this is important. Even if it's 5 minutes at the end of the day, we're going to prioritize this and be intentional about reconnecting.
That's good.
So it's just, just being kind to yourself. I think we as women are just so much harder on ourselves. And we can't do it all. Like, that's not what we were created for. We weren't created to do it all.
That's right.
God doesn't expect that of us. And to expect that of ourselves is an impossible thing. So just being, patient and graceful and and being practical too. Like,
Right.
When we go home, I spend the first 15 minutes as soon as we walk in the door just straightening up. Heather doesn't like doing that. When we walk into the door, he wants to, decompress from the day. And I, can go in and know I'm not going to be upset that he doesn't do that.
Okay, that's very good right there. Very crucial in marriage. Not blaming him.
Yeah.
Not being mad at him because he doesn't operate at the same pace
Right.
or have the same goals
Right.
that you have at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. It used to really bother me.
Let's be real.
Yeah. But he gets things done too, when he's ready.
Right.
So
We all understand.
yeah. So yeah, it's just, we're learning to work together and communicate. That's a big one in any marriage, no matter what stage of
That's right.
life you're at, no matter what job you have. Communication is huge.
It's vital.
Yeah.
It is vital. You brought out some good points there. And one of the things is developing that patience with
Right.
each other and learning what each other's stride is.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to be the same. And that doesn't make one person worse than the other.
Right.
That doesn't mean you have, gripe, because it's not your pace or the way you want it to flow and go. It's learning really in your job, in your marriage, in your child, because all of these have different demands, different
Right.
dynamics to it.
Yeah.
And how do you work through that? And the first thing you said was through the grace of God. Trusting that grace and learning when to speak
Right.
and learning when to be silent. What is major
Yes.
and
Yeah.
what is minor.
Yeah.
What is, really matters and counts for your future. And then, does that really matter in
Right.
your life?
Right.
Is that really going to affect you a year from now? And you have to really learn to walk through those things. It's interesting. So, Heaven,
Yeah, it's funny that you said you like to get to the cleaning for a few minutes, because Aaron is the same way. Like, we can
Okay.
get home from work and he'll just immediately start doing something, going to do yard work. And I'm like, can't we just sit for 5 minutes? I'm tired, I just want to sit for 5 minutes. And, at first it bothered me because it made me feel bad for wanting to sit
Right.
there.
Yeah.
While he did stuff. And now I'm like, you know what? He's got his
Right.
areas and I've got my areas. And, that's how we keep the house going,
Right.
for him to stay in his lane and for me to, do my part. And, likewise, right now school's not in session. So I'm home all day long and Aaron goes to work and then comes back. And there have been a few days where he's come home or when he's left and I've been on the couch, and then he's come back and I've been on the couch. And it looks like I've done nothing all day because I've been in the same position, even though I've, moved around the house and, done things. To him, he just sees, what,
Right.
me
funny.
on the couch. And, I can tell that he's kind of thought, well, what are you doing all day? Well,
Right.
I'm, and then we just talked about it, and I can see too that he's realizing, that in this time period, I don't have as much to do as him, but I'm also doing stuff around the house.
Right.
And maybe
still
that
work.
day I wrote a 10-page paper and just needed to, sit on the
Not
couch
do
for a
anything,
while.
yeah.
So just learning that we all have different roles and we all, have a different stride, like you said, just
Yes.
and getting into that point where we have grace with ourselves and with one another and not comparing ourselves
Yeah.
Right.
to anyone else or any other couple too, or anybody
Right.
else's house. Sometimes there are dishes in my sink, and when I go over to my sister's house, there's no dishes in the sink, and it's easy to compare, oh, she can keep her dishes cleaned and I can't, but we all have our own
That's right.
things.
And no guilt.
Yeah.
And that is something, Jordan, you brought up. was
Right.
Not taking the guilt, because guilt brings condemnation.
Right.
Guilt puts you down, makes you not feel good enough, adequate, or I can't do a good enough job.
Right.
And that self-esteem, when that starts going down, your
Yeah.
production starts going
Yeah.
down.
Oh, yeah.
And your life towards your mate goes down,
Yeah.
and you're seeing the worst in them instead of seeing the best
Right.
and pulling that out. So, we all have to live life, and we all have a different pace that we have to live it in. I am past, having children at home. I'm past early days of marriage. My husband and I have been married, it'll be in January 40 years.
Wow.
You know, so that is longer than either one of these have been alive. So, there's maturity here. And I've walked through stumbling blocks and walked through things. And so, you know, when I look at them and I watch them mix, because they have to mix, full-time ministry. This is our youth pastor. She's married to Aaron, which both of them are our youth pastors, and they both work in the school. Talk about a mixture.
Yeah.
And she's on the praise and worship team. And then Jordan, she and her husband are over creative arts, which means media.
Right.
It means worship. It means anything I need done. And she's also my assistant. And so, you know, processing all of that into our lives and then carrying out the love walk.
Right.
Right.
And then carrying out being kind one to another.
Yes.
Not taking offense. Because,
Yeah.
you know, when you work in a ministry, or we're using ministry right now, it can be at your job, but when you work in the ministry, everybody has personalities.
Yes.
You know, we all have our ways of saying things, and we all have our ways of communicating, and it may be different. This is a big thing. It may be different, because I know when Heather, Jordan's husband, first was trying to get to know me,
Yeah.
and I can be kind of silly sometimes.
Yes. You can.
And I have this thing, if you're around me long enough, I just go like this. And I would do that to Heather. And he would try to figure out, what is she doing? He would ask Jordan, what is she doing? What
Why is
is
Pastor
wrong?
Vicki always hitting me?
And so, you know, that was my language of, you know, I just love you. You know, I love you. And he wasn't getting that message, you know. But I'm just saying it's communication.
Yeah.
And I think Jordan finally said something to me. And I thought, oh, well, you know, this is what I do. I don't think anything about it. But it could be offensive.
Right.
You know, when you're trying to communicate and you're learning how each other communicates, some things can come across offensive that you meant absolutely
Right.
not offensive.
Right.
It can happen at home, it can happen at work, it
Yeah.
can happen everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's learning to communicate. What do you mean by that?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. And here, something I've told the staff, let's just be real. You know, if you have a question, ask it. You know, don't hide it.
Right.
And that's the same with your marriage. You know, there's something going on that you don't understand, or you don't ask.
Right.
Yeah.
Communicate. And don't feel like if you say something, it's going to start World War III.
Right. Right.
Right,
And if it
good.
does, get some help. We need to build better, healthier relationships.
There you go. And that's so right.
Yeah.
And isn't that what you've done in your marriages? They've got
Yeah.
great marriages.
Yes, thank
They
the
really
Lord.
do.
Yeah.
I watch their husbands treat them, you know, like queens. I hear what they say about them, you know, and I love that because that tells me they're healthy,
Yeah.
you know. And they know what's so funny is they know the weaknesses of their husbands, but they're not there to expose it.
Right.
They're not there to say, this is his weakness. He's lousy in this area. Well, some people do. you
Yeah,
know,
right.
Really. But that's not edifying and helping the marriage. That's trying to expose a fault.
Right.
Right.
And that's not what we're